Hello, Ryan here with another episode of Try My Darling, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be looking at two Street Fighter games. So first, I'm on my European SNES Classic edition, or I guess SNES Classic Mini here, and I'm going to play some Street Fighter II Turbo, and then following that I'm going to hop over to my Japanese Super Famicom Mini and play some Super Street Fighter II. So and I'll kind of explain the why of it here as we go. Basically, I'm super stoked that Capcom is bringing the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection to the Switch. So kind of as a lead-in to that, I wanted to play some Street Fighter games, and I have two of them across two mini consoles here, so I figured it's kind of as good of a time and way to do that as any. So we will see how this goes. Alright, so first I'm going to go into the options, and because I want to see a lot of the stages and not just get stuck at Ken on stage 3, I am dropping the difficulty down like a fake gamer, a not real gamer here. I gotta change my controls. If you are looking for expert plays here, you are in the wrong place, my friend. I am merely okay at Street Fighter, so I'm no shame about playing at the low difficulty. I think here, so in Turbo you have your 12 characters. Turbo added, compared to the original World Warrior, it added the boss characters. So we got Balrog, Vega, M. Bison, and Sagat, which I guess I just picked. Whoops. That was not who I was gonna pick, but here we are. I ran out of time. I actually have no idea how to play Sagat. I never really have, so this is really exciting. I do know he has those big kicks. Throw. As you can see, I have the CRT filter on. I have that on both my SNES Classic and the Super Famicom Classic. I really like the way the CRT filter looks on these consoles. I'm typically not a fan of that. I'm not usually a fan of like scan lines and that sort of effect on games, but for some reason it really I really like it on the SNES Classic.
Round one, fight!
I'm trying to remember how to do the Tiger Knee. I have no idea.
You win! Round two, fight!
Wow, I really cannot do. I can't even do a tiger uppercut with the this Super Nintendo controller. I'm very out of practice playing Street Fighter on this console. I think You know what? I'm gonna start over. Sorry. Um, I need to use a charging character because I'm really struggling with my diagonal inputs on this controller. So let's try this again. So yeah, I need to use Blanca. Usually, I don't know. I can do all right with a stick, with diagonal inputs and stuff, but I'm not really feeling it on the SNES pad. The charging style is much easier for me with digital inputs, so yeah, this should go a little better.
You win. Perfect. Japan. Round one. Fight. Hadouken! 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 Hadouken!
Wow, Ryu is not taking any of my anything.
Hadouken! 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 Hadouken!
Ooh, wow.
You
Ouch.
lose.
Man, this game is still kind of hard on the easiest difficulty.
Hadouken!
My goodness.
Hadouken! 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 Hadouken!
Nice.
You win. Round three. Fight. Hadouken! 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 You win.
That's a pretty ugly win there. Yikes. I think I dropped the difficulty. I don't know. I'm kind of shocked by how much I'm struggling.
Fight.
Actually, I'm not like super surprised, but you know, I did play some Ultra Street Fighter 2 on the Switch. I played that a bunch this last summer, and I feel like I did pretty well, like playing online and playing against my friends. But I guess this is a whole different ball game.
You win.
I feel like that game was a little bit easier to play because I actually played using the analog stick on the Joy-Cons or on the Pro Controller. Yes, that bonus stage is very easy for Blanca.
Brazil. Round one. Fight. You win. Round 2, fight!
It's kind of hard to think about Blanca without thinking about Street Fighter the movie and his tragic tale in that. I've not watched that movie in far too long, I think.
Round 1,
The live action one, not the good animated one. Just to be clear. I guess I haven't watched either in far too long. Maybe I'll do that on the lead up to
you win!
to the Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection.
Round 2,
Celebrate all aspects of Street Fighter. I'll read the weirdly violent Malibu comic. If you've ever read that from like back in the day, like before Udon took over, a company called Malibu had the Street Fighter comic license, and I had the first issue and it was like super bloody, which is kind of weird. But that was just as video games and comic books were getting edgy in the mid 90s.
USA!
So it was a perfect storm.
Round 1, fight!
And now I feel like I'm kind of getting my groove here. We'll see how long that lasts for.
Round 2, fight! Shoryuken! 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 Hadouken! 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 You win! Perfect.
I love bonus stages with Blanca.
China. Round 1, fight!
Man, she is putting up a fight. That was
You win!
those were some good moves by Chun-Li.
Round 2,
Chun-Li has always been the character in the Street Fighter series that I wish I could learn how to play well. I've tried and tried again, but I could never get fully comfortable with playing as her.
you win! USSR. Round 1, fight!
Zangief is another character that I can't help but think about the Street Fighter movie when I see him. He provided some of the best comic relief in that film. His line about they paid you, always hits. Always gets a pop.
You win. Perfect. USA. Round one. Fight.
I feel like every stage in Street Fighter 2, like every background is a classic, but this is one of my favorites. It's just, all the colors are just so good. Man, this game was so mind-blowing to be able to play on a console at home back when it dropped. I think World Warrior came out on SNES here in the West in 92, and then Turbo came out in 93. But man, so insane. Just the huge sprites and the detail in the background. This one's a little harder. If I'm not positioned perfectly, I'll miss one of them, but it looks like pretty set up here. My thumb's getting tired, but I did it. It's funny, I haven't done this in like probably, I don't know when the last time I actually played Turbo was on the SNES, but like I still have a lot of this muscle memory. But yeah, it was probably, jeez, 15 years ago? I don't know. I mean, maybe like I might have played it a little bit when it hit like the Wii Virtual Console. I think I bought it then. Oh, I didn't know he could throw me from that. Huh. Well, that's something worth noting. Vega can totally throw you when you're electrical. But it's not gonna happen again.
You win. Island. Round one. Fight.
Well, the computer can do the tiger uppercuts just fine, even though I could not. Oh my god. Not let him get any room to breathe, or else it is just Tiger City.
Round two. Fight. Tiger uppercut. Tiger. Tiger. Tiger uppercut. Tiger. Tiger. Tiger.
Oof. I was kind of worried that was gonna be a slobber knocker, as good old JR would say. So now I can face Bison with his butt chin, and then get my really bad ending, hopefully, where it just says play on a higher difficulty. Man, this is very pleasant compared to how fighting Bison on like 4 stars or up difficulty is. I remember going through trying to get, the proper endings for the characters, which I think you have to be on. I think you have to be on 3 or 4 stars to get I think 4 stars actually to get like a real ending for like the real character ending. And God, I remember fighting Bison dozens and dozens of times. Like hours. So yeah, there. Go ahead and try that harder difficulty level. So yeah, I'm gonna put in my initials as NFC, representing the Nintendo Fun Club podcast. Oh yeah. So yeah, now I'm going to let's see. Now I'm going to shut this down and plug in the Super Famicom Mini and play some Super Street Fighter 2. So I will catch you in a moment. Be right back. Okay, welcome back. So now I am going to be playing some Super Street Fighter 2, the new challengers, and man, I love that Super Famicom box art for Super Street Fighter 2. It is so good. Oh, I love it. So yeah, this dropped in '94. 1 year after Turbo, I guess. Very impressive opening cinematic here. I'm just gonna watch it. To options, drop the difficulty down, set my buttons, and yeah, there's so many modes in here, the tournament, group battle, that like I really don't know. I've never time challenge, I've never actually played any of those. This was a game I owned Street Fighter 2 Turbo back in the day. I'm actually going to play as Bison, who is Vega here, and Vega is Balrog, and Balrog is M. Bison, because Japan. So yeah, I'm actually going to play as Bison / Vega here, but yeah, so this game I'm not like super familiar with. Like I've obviously played it in different forms, but I never owned this one. I owned Championship Edition on the Sega Genesis and Turbo on the SNES, but I never had the Super. I did rent it a few times, and I've played it in like what was Hype? I can't remember the version that was on the Street Fighter Anthology that came out on like PS2 and Xbox. I played it there. I think I played it on Street Fighter Collection on PS1, maybe.
USA.
I'm trying to think what that had. I know it had load times. I definitely remember playing some version of Street Fighter 2 with load times. But yeah, I think it was like a 2-disc set, which was pretty cool. Seeing Street Fighter in a big old multi-disc PS1 box. Yeah, I'm trying to think where else. Where else I would have played it? I guess maybe in the arcade, but I think I mostly played, most versions I can picture of playing this game was the Turbo version with the special meter. Yikes! I was talking too much about Street Fighter, and I almost lost there. So yeah, that's just another reason why I'm extra excited about this Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection coming out. I mean, it's going to be awesome to play, like, you know, what I'm hoping will be very accurate arcade ports of all of these games, but it will be fun to go through and kind of see the differences between the different versions and everything.
You win.
Which I know there's, even besides the 4 characters in the combo system and the different modes, I know there are some, like, move differences between Turbo and Super, even just, like, on the console here. But I'm not really sure what those are.
You win.
Ooh, this is gonna be hard without Blanca. Not the way to go. Yeah, these stages are like way harder without Blanca. I just did some heavy kicks there, but barely got it.
Mexico.
I also remember another reason why I wasn't as excited to purchase this game back in the day is I believe it was one of the $70 or $80 Super Nintendo games. So yeah, not terribly excited about that when I was a kid and not having very much money. But this also came out, it came out a year before the PlayStation hit in North America, and 2 years before the N64, which was the system I was more excited about at the time. So I think I probably had already begun at this point saving up and getting ready for the next generation. But I also had gotten really into Killer Instinct around this time, and I played that a lot in the arcade, and it kind of became my go-to arcade game, arcade fighter, kind of surpassing like Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter. I guess Championship Edition was the one that my arcade had, but yeah, I got really into Killer Instinct, and then when the Super Nintendo version came out, I remember getting that day one, and I really enjoyed learning all the combos and everything. That was a very, I feel like Mortal Kombat kind of required you to memorize a lot of button combinations to do like the fatalities and stuff, but I feel like Killer Instinct took that to the next level, and like you kind of always had to have a guide out in front of you while you were playing. But yeah, I remember taking a guide to, like, I had a guide that I would take to the arcade with, combos and stuff, and then when the game finally came out on SNES, I remember just, like, practicing combos for, like, hours, and trying to just get more hits out of them, and just memorizing all that stuff. Which some of it I do still have in my muscle memory, if I'm playing on an actual SNES controller. Because I picked up a KI cartridge last year, I think, and went back to it a bit, and yeah, it was all still there, for better or worse. But
You win! Perfect!
I know that's a game that kind of gets hated on these days, but I still love it a lot. KI Gold on N64 as well. I bought a really weird third-party controller to play KI Gold. It was a monstrosity, but the N64 controller just was not well suited to 2D fighting games. I remember having KI Gold and Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and I had to use this really weird, scary, I don't know if it was like a Mad Catz or Interact or Pelican. It was probably Pelican. Very not good controller, but couldn't pull off moves otherwise.
No. You win! Perfect! No. You win! Perfect! USA!
So yeah, thanks if you're still here watching this at this point. I'm definitely aware that this probably is not the most exciting playthrough, but thanks for sticking with me until Guile's stage. I guess I'll talk more about other 2D fighters on the Super Nintendo that I loved. I was a big fan of the Takara ports of SNK games, so their ports of Fatal Furies and Samurai Showdown. I love those, even though I would say the Genesis version of Sam Show is definitely a little bit better than the SNES one. Because I believe, I think it was Samurai Showdown. The SNES one had the really tiny sprites, and the Genesis had the big sprites. Still not scaling. If you wanted a scaling version of Samurai Showdown back in the day, you had to buy a 3DO. Or a Neo Geo, obviously, but the cheaper option at the time was to buy a 3DO, which I did. I did get a 3DO, like way late in the game. Like, I think PlayStation was already out when I got mine, but it was super cheap at Funko Land, and yeah, I got that, and Samurai Showdown. I basically bought the system to play Samurai Showdown with the scaling sprites, because that was my jam, and I could not get a Neo Geo, because they're way too expensive. Oh no! I lost. Yeah, never was able to get a Neo Geo as a kid, so it's become this very legendary system to me. So in my adulthood, I have purchased many ports of Neo Geo games to kind of experience that system. Actually, the only SNK system I ever owned was a Neo Geo Pocket. I still have not ever purchased a proper Neo Geo piece of hardware. And I probably never will, to be honest, unless they try another one of those like budget ones, but maybe a little bit better than that, because it's really expensive even today, and a lot of those games are still extremely expensive, and to get it like modded for RGB or HDMI or whatever is really expensive as well. And so honestly, I'm pretty happy with the arcade archives on the Nintendo Switch. Or I mean, you can get them on PS4 or Xbox One, but I buy all mine on the Switch to play it as on the TV, or in portable mode, or in tabletop mode, which those games are really good in tabletop mode for 2-player local multiplayer. But something I do want to get is a Switch arcade stick. Especially, I want to get it by the time the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection comes out, but there is a Hori stick out there, and it's $150, so it's pricey, but at least the reviews on Amazon I've seen for it are pretty good, so I think that will be an investment at some point when I have $150 just hanging out. But I feel like I'd get a lot of use out of it, playing it with the Neo Geo arcade archives and that Street Fighter Anniversary Collection. That's how I rationalize it to myself, I guess. I will say, as I've been playing this, I have earbuds in, so I'm playing it with headphones, and I have the volume pretty low, but I've really enjoyed the stereo sound. This is just an incredible sounding game. They use the stereo channels really well. And it's like super apparent in this stage. Yay! Well, here comes my bad ending for Super Street Fighter as well. Ooh, gotta try that harder difficulty. Even in Japan. Alright, well, yeah, I guess that kind of wraps up this video. Thanks for staying with me if you did this whole time. It's been a trip playing through these Street Fighter games. Yeah, I just, again, like, all it's done is really kind of make me more excited for the Anniversary Collection. I'm so stoked to get the alpha games, alpha 2 and 3 specifically. Like, that is going to be a blast. So yeah, cool. Well, if you want to find our blog, you can NintendoFunClubPodcast.com. We post show notes for the podcast. We have links to our videos. We have just random write-ups that show up from time to time, so check that out. Please subscribe to the Nintendo Fun Club podcast. Actually, the last episode we talked a ton about Street Fighter, so check out that podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, whatever. And then, yeah, if you want to see more Nintendo-related videos, subscribe to this channel on YouTube. That would be super appreciated. But as for myself, I'm Ryan, and you can find me on Twitter at BrawnDwarf, BrawnDwarf. So, thank you again for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. Goodbye.